So I want to thank Naoka and the CfJJ board for, see if I can get that to sit up there, for asking me to do this, and just to spend a few minutes to pause and recognize Ned Logren. I'm going to make a couple comments. Hopefully this will come up. We got a bunch of shots of Ned. I'm hopeful that it'll come up. I'm honored, and I'm going to do this in 5 minutes or less. So many of us in the room had the benefit of getting to know Ned. Some of us did not, but most of us, a lot of us did. There are also those of us in the room, including myself and my friend Scott DeBerna. I'm sure there's a long list that actually where Ned had a direct positive impact on our career. When I came to work for DYS in 1983, Ned was the deputy commissioner at that time, and from being way down in the workforce, Ned was really like an icon from my perspective. In 1985, Ned became our commissioner. I got to know him, and actually with Ned's style, pretty much any staff member that spent any real time in the agency got to know Ned. He was hands-on, he was present, he was innovative, and he was leading the charge. He initiated a lot of cutting-edge programming options and forged a strong relationship with the nonprofit community. He showed up our relationship with our public partners, and under Ned's leadership, DYS was actually recognized, I believe it was 86, was recognized nationally for our service continuum and outcomes. Ned has made a lasting impact in the rebuilding of the agency, and really, from my perspective, was really one of the key architects of the infrastructure of the agency as it stands today. We rely on a lot of what Ned initiated and built within the agency in the 80s and 90s. We doing okay? Yes. 3.5 years ago, I was offered the commissioner's job, and I was very fortunate to inherit an agency in good stead. Within a matter of a couple of days, my phone rang, and it was Ned, asking me how I was doing. He wanted to stop by and make sure I was making a good adjustment to his former post. He was a huge support to me over the past several years. His professional niche, for those of you that don't know it, Ned ran an association that essentially was the National Association of DYS Commissioners, CJCA, the Council for Juvenile Correctional Administrators. And for the past 22 years, he succeeded in doing just that and more. CJCA became a national force under Ned's leadership, taking on challenges like recidivism, PREA compliance, promising practices, positive outcomes, and a reduction, most recently a reduction in solitary confinement in juvenile justice facilities. These are all difficult and potentially intractable issues, but CJCA under Ned's leadership never hesitated to step up to the challenge. His work product includes the Performance-Based Standards Initiative, which is a national recognized program. His group wrote a nationally recognized white paper on recidivism. They recently published a national toolkit on the reduction of solitary confinement in juvenile justice facilities, and Ned really was the driving force behind that. Most recently, I had a chance to, I'm part of a juvenile justice learning group, and had a chance to go to DC with Ned in August, and I sat at the Reagan Airport waiting for our flight, and Ned told me about his cancer, and it was real clear that he had a tough diagnosis, but it wasn't, oh, woe is me. Within a matter of a few minutes after he explained that he was going to be losing his hair, that's basically what he wanted to tell me, he pivoted right into the new program plan that they're running out of CJCA in the Center for Juvenile Justice Reform at Georgetown, called the Youth in Custody Practice Model, that's focused on quality, secure treatment programming. Massachusetts is one of 4 jurisdictions nationally that's involved in that TA on trying to get to the gold standard of secure treatment in the Commonwealth. He had an incredible memory. He had really had a mind like a steel trap. He could pull things back from years and years ago. He's been very, very present in our agency. He's attended a number of events. We've had him out to speak at our Commissioners Awards and different events, and we've actually had the opportunity to do hands-on TA with Ned personally and with his organization. Roughly 3 months ago, I'm almost done. Roughly 3 months ago today, CJCA convened their national conference in Boston, and we had an opportunity to do a recognition event, and I essentially used the same speaking notes for that recognition event at the Copley, which I think John Larrabee is or was here. And John actually is the one that said we really should do something for Ned if we're going to do something in Boston. And it was very obviously fortuitous that we did it in August because he's not with us now. But at that event, which was really awesome, and Scott and Ed Dolan and Jane and a number of us were able to do that and be there for Ned. I read this. Ned Murphy couldn't make it, but he sent a letter, and so I read that, and I'm going to kind of close with this. This is from Ned Murphy to Ned Logren in August because he couldn't attend the event at the hotel. I am traveling this weekend, and I regret not being with you this evening to honor my old friend and colleague, Ned Logren. Ned and I began working together in 1980 when I invited him to move from New York State to Boston to become Deputy Commissioner of DYS. Initially, it seemed like a potential source of confusion that we were both known as Ned, but the advantage quickly became clear in that there was just enough confusion to allow me to blame him for anything that went wrong. In fact, very few things went wrong, and many things went right, mostly because of Ned's extraordinary competence as an administrator and a leader. He was my close and valued partner for 6 years. I was delighted when, upon my leaving the department in 1985, Ned was appointed commissioner and was able to continue and enhance his work in creating the best possible juvenile corrections system. That was just one chapter in a very long and successful career as a national leader in juvenile justice. It is a measure of Ned's character that he was able to sustain his commitment for decades. That commitment translated to enormous benefit for thousands of children. Congratulations and best wishes for the years ahead. Ned Murphy. So I'll close with Ned Logren, from my perspective, was arguably the national expert in juvenile justice, and he earned that distinction the hard way over the long haul. And I make that assertion knowing full well who's in this room. He made his mark, and he did it with class. That's it.